Hi, this is Brian Malco from Placebo, and we're in Altitude, so why don't you come and check us out? I think the most growth occurred between Without You I'm Nothing and Black Market Music in the way that we basically took over the reins of production a great deal more. The first album was a budget record which was made in like 3.5 weeks, and that we didn't really know our way around a studio. The second album was, there was a definite producer-band divide, and it was painful, and we didn't want to do that again. So we felt that we were ready to be in the driver's seat. And so that's why it took a little bit longer, but we finally achieved, I think, everything that we were sonically attempting to do on the first two. After we did Velvet Goldmine, a lot of lazy journalists went, oh, you must be a glam band now. You know, we went from being a goth band to a glam band, you know, and we always thought that we were a rock and roll band. You know, in the classic terms of it, like the Jesus and Mary Chain or the Stooges, you know, really. And, but at the same time, we always wanted to be a band that kind of provided everything. And if you have a strong image, you have to make sure that you have equally, if not more, stronger music to back you up. Otherwise, you fall flat on your face and you're in a Milli Vanilli kind of situation, and you wouldn't really be around anymore. Obviously, when we first met, we were completely starstruck. But then, you know, once you get used to the fact, you know, it's kind of you become very relaxed. And I think that's why musicians hang out with musicians, is because they treat each other like normal human beings. There isn't a kind of an idolatry. There isn't, you know, kind of a hero worship. You're not placed up on a pedestal. And there's a really interesting expression and exchange of ideas. Our contemporaries and our kindred spirits in the music business, I think, are people who have a very strong identity and a very personal vision. They're people who've kind of created their own universe or their own planet where they live on, and they have their own rules, and they choose to break them when they choose to, and have always kind of embraced freedom and risk-taking without necessarily being concerned with fashion. And the two people who really stick out to me, like people like PJ Harvey and Radiohead, really. And I think that they're bands that have an incredible amount of substance and say a great deal about the human condition, which for me is a prerequisite for making good art.
I think the growth and development of Placebo's music has come more within the complexity of the writing and the arrangements. I think it goes deeper. It sort of hits deeper levels than Without You I'm Nothing or Placebo, the first album. And I think it's got slightly louder and slightly more hard edge. I think the image card's sort of been pushed against us, really, more than us trying to go out and seek, you know, that kind of thing. Our image and our look is a very natural thing, and it's something which is very individual to each of us. It just seems to work as a whole. But you know, if you're 50% image and 50% music, you sort of end up like Milli Vanilli, which is something you don't want to do. So image isn't the main thing, but it's something which comes natural to us. He just received a Placebo demo just before the first album was made and liked it and invited the band over to finish off the outside tour. And at the time, the band were playing sort of 300 people in clubs in London, and then straight out to 8,000 people with Bowie. And the relationship started there. I first met him in Spain, I think, when he was doing the Earthling tour. And then it just progressed up to recording with him with Without You I'm Nothing, which was his phone call. He enjoyed Without You I'm Nothing so much, he wanted to be on it. And if we didn't want him to be on it, he was going to re-record it anyway. We sort of got spat out of the Britpop. We were sort of right at the end. I think we stuck out like a sore thumb, really, with all the sort of fallout of the Verve and the Oasises and the sort of the retro scene which was going on in London. Everybody wanting to be the Beatles and the Stones, which is very, very uninteresting thing to be because it's been done already. I think our only contemporaries would be probably people like Ash, you know, maybe Idlewild, maybe 6x7, maybe At the Drive-In, maybe Queens of the Stone Age. And then only recently, because of the kind of new birth of sort of punk and the sort of hopeful death of like sports metal in America.
I just think it's just more confidence. Like, you know, we found our voice. You know, what we tried to do with the first two albums. You know, with either lacking in experience or lacking in knowledge about, you know, sort of our instruments and writing, songwriting, and also finding the right producer to work with. So it's just coming together of all those things. We found the right guy to work with, and I think this album is more coherent songwriting wise and sonically. You know, it's more the sound that we had in our heads. So it's just a culmination of 6 years of work. You know. Yeah, there is a certain sort of poster quality to the band, you know. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of kids out there who have us plastered on the walls, and I'm fine with that, you know. You know, I mean, I think what happens is that when you go on tour and you play the same songs night after night, you know, you want to sort of entertain yourself, you know. You start focusing in on your actual live performance as a band, you know, your actual physical actions and your connection with the crowd. So you let yourself go, and you can also sort of explore sides of your personality, you know, in the way that you look, you know, in the way that you move, in the way they interact with the other band members. You know, there's a certain showbiz quality to it, and, you know, we always enjoyed that. You know, we always liked to go see gigs, which just sort of took you somewhere else visually as well. An honesty and a passion in the music. A certain sense of, I think maybe he saw a bit of himself in Brian, you know, if you're looking on the androgynous sense. Yeah, and I just think he's got quite good taste in music. I quite admire what Radiohead are doing, you know, and in the sense of reinventing themselves is very important. I mean, bands like U2 and R.E.M. who've done it continuously, you know, their ethic of basically playing live and also reinventing themselves. But like rock, I guess the only rock bands that we've sort of been turned on by lately is like Queens of the Stone Age and At the Drive-In. So bands like that sort of keep us sort of inspired. You know, we went to see At the Drive-In when we were in Australia, and it really blew us away, you know, like eating humble pie. So it's good when that happens.